Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving deep, really deep, into something I find absolutely fascinating, this Japanese concept of Ikigai.
Ikigai, yeah.
It's often talked about as this secret to living a long and happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be using the book Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life, as our guide
Okay.
to really break down this philosophy, and especially how it plays out in Okinawa, this place that's famous for its long-lived residents, right? So what does this idea, the happiness of always being busy, actually mean, like, for us?
Right. That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to find out.
Yeah. We've got this book, right?
Yeah.
And it's giving us this amazing peek into a whole culture, where people just seem to thrive and live a long, long time. And the connection to Okinawa, that's what really jumps out, I think.
Okinawa, absolutely.
I mean, the numbers are incredible.
Yeah.
They've got nearly 25 centenarians for every 100,000 people. It's wild.
It's crazy.
So clearly there's something going on there, something special.
Definitely.
And this book, it makes a strong case for this idea, this Ikigai thing,
Right.
being like a key ingredient in that whole longevity thing, along with their diet, their lifestyle.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
Right. Exactly.
It paints this picture
Yeah.
of the Okinawans, like waking up every morning with this sense of purpose, this drive, this Ikigai that's pulling them forward, not just getting through the day. You know? It's more than that. They have this deep sense of fulfillment, happiness, meaning.
That's the thing about Ikigai, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about existing. It's about having a reason to, a good reason.
And you see that in the way they approach work and retirement.
Absolutely. This book, it talks about how people, they don't really retire in the way we think about it. Here it's like you hit 65, maybe 60, you're done. But in Japan, and especially in Okinawa, they stay active, engaged. It's like that Ikigai keeps them going.
Wow. So having that clear Ikigai is just as important as their healthy diet
It seems that way.
for living a long life in Okinawa and in other blue zones.
Yeah, you know about blue zones, right?
Well, I do, but maybe not everyone listening does.
Right. So blue zones, they're these areas around the world where people live much longer than average.
Right.
Like way longer. And Okinawa, it's actually at the top of that list.
The top spot. Wow.
The book even breaks down the actual Japanese characters for Ikigai.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's asumi-e. So that's Iki, and it means life. Straightforward, right?
Right.
And then osumiya means to be worthwhile.
So a life worth living. I like that.
That's the essence of it.
I love how they even broke down the characters for us. It has this whole other level of understanding.
It does. And, if you go even deeper into that character, Gaish,
Okay, yeah.
it's actually made up of two parts. There's Ren, which can be armor, or number one, the leader.
Wow.
And then that one's got this sense of beautiful or elegant.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you can almost picture it, right?
Yeah.
This idea of living your life with purpose, strength, even a kind of grace or an elegant dedication.
It's a beautiful image.
It really is.
And it's more than just a nice thought, right?
Oh, yeah.
This focus on Ikigai, the book really drives that point home, with research. Evidence.
Yeah, it's not just anecdotal. It's like they have this purpose, this Ikigai.
Yeah.
And that actually contributes to their overall health and well-being, and ultimately to how long they live.
And what's really cool is Okinawa isn't alone in this.
No, not at all.
There are other blue zones, right?
Yeah.
Like Sardinia in Italy, Loma Linda in California, the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
and Icaria in Greece. The book mentions all of these places.
Exactly. So, these blue zones, they're all over the map, literally.
Yeah.
Different cultures, different diets, different everything, really.
But what do they have in common?
Right. There are these common threads. They all have healthy eating habits, strong community connections, and importantly, a very clear sense of purpose. It really resonates with this whole Ikigai concept.
It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
About our own lives. What's our purpose? Our own Ikigai.
Absolutely. The book even expands the definition of Ikigai a bit.
Oh.
Yeah, it suggests that for some people, their Ikigai might be something simple but really powerful, like helping others.
That makes sense.
It really shows how personal and unique this whole concept can be. And, scientists have looked at all the data from these blue zones, and they keep coming back to the same thing, the same key factors for longevity. diet, physical activity, and that sense of purpose, that Ikigai. And also those social connections, having a good network of friends and family.
Let's talk about some of these anti-aging secrets that the book revealed.
Oh, yeah, there are some good ones in there.
Right. One that really stood out to me was it hara hachibu?
Hara hachibu.
This practice of like not eating until you're totally full.
Right. It's about eating until you're about 80% full.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, and it's not just some random, diet tip. This goes way back. It's rooted in like ancient wisdom.
Oh, wow.
And it's about preventing overeating, which can lead to all sorts of cellular damage.
So hara hachibu, it's not just about like the quantity of food.
Right.
It's about being mindful of how your body feels.
Exactly. It's like, being aware of those signals before you're completely stuffed. Yeah. Stop at satisfied, not at I can't eat another bite.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's a subtle thing, but over time it can make a huge difference in your health and energy.
That mindful eating thing, it's something we could all probably work on.
Definitely. And the book makes this interesting point about how in Japan it's normal to feel slightly hungry even after a meal.
Really?
Yeah, and that naturally leads to them consuming fewer calories and having healthier body weights compared to, say, the U.S.
And the book, it actually provides some statistics.
Oh, yeah, the numbers are pretty telling.
Okinawa averages around 1,800 to 1,900 calories a day with a BMI of 18 to 22.
Yeah, that's pretty healthy.
Whereas in the U.S., it's more like 2,200 to 3,300 calories with a BMI of 26 to 27.
So you can see even a small difference in daily calories can add up over a lifetime.
And speaking of the Okinawan diet, it's pretty specific.
Oh, yeah. They focus on things like tofu, sweet potatoes, and fish.
Okay.
They eat fish about 3 times a week, and pork is their main meat, but they only have it once or twice a week.
It's interesting how they don't eat much meat.
Yeah, it's definitely different from the standard American diet. Now, the book also goes into this kind of mind-blowing idea called aging's escape velocity.
Aging's escape velocity. That sounds intense.
It is. It's basically this point where, hypothetically, science and technology could advance so much that they could actually outpace the aging process.
Like, we could become immortal.
Yeah, some people think so.
Yeah.
The book talks about guys like Kurzweil and de Grey who are really optimistic about this. But then there's this other view, based more on biology, that our cells might just have built-in limits when it comes to, regenerating and repairing themselves. So immortality might not be realistic after all.
So it's like this debate between technology and biology.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless of that, those are ideas for the future. What's important right now, according to the book, is keeping your mind active and adaptable. That's what really helps you stay young.
The old mens sana and corpore sano.
Exactly. A healthy mind and a healthy body. And mental exercise, it keeps those brain cells working well, keeps you sharp, responsive to the world around you.
Makes sense. You don't want your mental gears to get rusty, right?
Exactly. And the book talks about this neuroscientist, Shlomo Brezhnitz.
Okay.
And he makes this point that our brains, they thrive on new information.
Huh.
So when we get stuck in those routines, doing the same things day after day, our brains kind of go on autopilot. So we need to shake things up a bit, introduce new experiences, even if they're a little outside our comfort zone.
Soft cells a bit.
Exactly. It forces our brains to make new connections, and it keeps them vital.
I like that, like a mental workout.
Exactly. And the book even says that these benefits, they're not just theoretical.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's scientific evidence to back it up. Mental training can actually lead to the creation of new neural pathways.
Wow. So it's good for our brains in a really concrete way.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then, of course, there's stress.
Oh, yeah. Stress. The big one.
It's a huge factor in aging, premature aging, that is. The book even mentions this study from Heidelberg University Hospital.
Ow.
And it suggests that our body's stress response, that fight or flight thing, it can actually mimic the way our body reacts to harmful invaders,
Really?
Yeah. And that can damage healthy cells. It's wild. And there's this other research from the University of California, and they found a link between chronic stress and the shortening of telomeres.
Okay, and remind me, what are telomeres again?
Oh, right. They're those protective caps on our DNA. They're like a biological marker of aging. So the shorter they get, the more we age.
Got it.
And the book goes into detail about, the actual physical process of stress.
Okay.
It all starts with that pituitary gland. It releases hormones that trigger those adrenal glands to produce adrenaline and cortisol. And these hormones, they're essential, like if our ancestors were facing a saber-toothed tiger.
Right, that fight or flight response.
Exactly. But the thing is, nowadays we have this constant low-level stress from work, from technology, from like everything. And that takes a toll.
Yeah, it's not like we can just run away from our emails, right?
Exactly. And this kind of chronic stress, it can affect our memory, mess with our hormones, make us irritable, give us insomnia.
And even high blood pressure.
Exactly. It's not good.
So what can we do about it?
Well, the book really advocates for like mindful stress reduction.
Okay.
Becoming more aware of how we react to situations and consciously focusing on the present moment to stop those thoughts from just spiraling out of control.
I like this quote from Roberto Alcibar.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
He said something like, we need to turn off the autopilot.
That's it. That's so true.
Right. And the book suggests things like meditation, breathing exercises, yoga, body scans.
All good stuff.
As ways to cultivate that mindfulness.
Yeah, anything that helps us become more present, more grounded.
Absolutely. But there's a twist, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. The book also mentions that while chronic high-level stress is definitely harmful, a moderate amount of stress might actually be beneficial for longevity.
Interesting.
Yeah, like facing challenges and overcoming them. It keeps us engaged.
So it's about finding that balance.
Yes, exactly. Not too much stress, not too little. That sweet spot.
And of course, we can't forget about exercise. Or rather, the lack of it.
Oh, yeah, that sedentary lifestyle, that's a killer.
The book really goes into detail about how harmful it can be.
Yeah, it's not just about like not being fit.
Right.
Too much sitting can mess with your metabolism, lower your good cholesterol, increase your appetite. And the worst part is it makes you way more susceptible to all sorts of diseases.
Yeah, it's linked to everything from hypertension and cardiovascular disease to osteoporosis and even cancer.
Exactly. And it can even mess with those telomeres in your immune cells.
It's a good reminder to get up and move.
Absolutely. No matter how old you are.
And the book has some really practical advice for being less sedentary, like walking more, taking the stairs, making time for social activities, swapping those unhealthy snacks for some fruit, getting enough sleep, and just generally being more aware of our daily routines.
It's all about making those little changes that add up over time.
It really circles back to that core idea we keep talking about, right? Keeping our minds and bodies active is crucial for a long and vibrant life.
Exactly. And, speaking of the mind, the book mentions this study from Yeshiva University.
Okay.
And they found that among people who lived very long lives, a positive attitude and a high level of emotional awareness were very common traits.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's not just about what you eat or how much you exercise. It's also about how you approach life's challenges and how you manage your emotions. It all plays a role.
I love that quote from Jerome Monkimore, who lived to be 116 years old.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
He said something like, the life you live is just as important as your genes, maybe even more so.
That's a powerful statement.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this ode to longevity from Ogimi that the book shares.
Oh, yeah, the one about eating a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and waking up early, enjoying the seasons, keeping your hands and mind busy, all those things.
It's a beautiful way to sum up all those key habits we've been talking about.
It really is. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about the connection between having a sense of purpose and living a long and fulfilling life.
Right.
The book talks about Viktor Frankl and his idea of logotherapy.
Ah, yes. Logotherapy.
So for people who might not be familiar with it, could you explain that a bit?
Sure. Basically, logotherapy, it's a type of therapy that focuses on finding meaning in life.
Okay.
Not just feeling good, but actually having a purpose. Something that motivates you, drives you forward.
I like that. Finding your why.
Exactly. And the book compares it to psychoanalysis, which is kind of the classic image of therapy, right?
Yeah, the patient lying on the couch talking about their childhood.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But in logotherapy, the patient is sitting up, actively engaged. And Frankl, the guy who developed it, he would ask his patients this very direct question. Why do you not commit suicide?
Wow, that's pretty heavy.
It is, but it's a way to get to the heart of the matter, to uncover those fundamental reasons for living.
And logotherapy, it's all about helping people consciously find their purpose in life, right?
Right.
So they can confront their problems, overcome their challenges, and keep moving forward.
Exactly. And they actually did a study at Frankel's clinic in Vienna.
Yeah.
And they found that around 80% of people believe that humans need a reason to live. And over 60% felt they had something worth dying for.
That's a pretty strong testament to the importance of meaning in our lives.
It really is. And for Frankl himself, that search for meaning, it became his driving force, especially during his time in the concentration camps.
That must have been incredibly difficult.
Oh, absolutely. But it was his sense of purpose, his belief in something larger than himself that helped him survive.
It's an incredible story of resilience.
It really is. And the book, it goes into some interesting comparisons between logotherapy and psychoanalysis.
Okay.
Like, logotherapy focuses on the future. You know, what meaning can you find in the future? Whereas psychoanalysis tends to look back at the past.
Okay.
And their views of human nature are also different. Logotherapy emphasizes our will to meaning, this kind of spiritual dimension, while psychoanalysis is more focused on our instincts and drives.
It's fascinating how those different perspectives shape those therapies.
Absolutely. And Frankl, he also had this idea of existential frustration.
Existential frustration. What's that?
It's that feeling of unease you get when life feels pointless, like there's no purpose. And he didn't necessarily see it as a bad thing.
Okay.
Not always a sign of mental illness, but more like a wake-up call, a nudge from the universe to go find your meaning.
I like that. A motivation to seek something more.
Exactly. And he would often quote Nietzsche, who said, "He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how."
That's a powerful quote.
It is. And Frankl, he believed that our well-being actually depends on having a bit of tension between what we've already accomplished and what we still want to do.
So we need challenges to grow.
Yeah, exactly. Not just a life of ease and comfort. We need to strive for something.
Makes you wonder how many people feel this existential crisis nowadays, you know?
Oh, I think a lot of people do.
Especially with all the pressure to follow certain paths, to achieve certain things. It can be easy to lose sight of what really matters.
Absolutely. And the book talks about this thing called Sunday neurosis.
Sunday neurosis, what's that?
It's that feeling of emptiness that people can get when the structure of the work week disappears.
So I know exactly what you mean.
It's like without that external schedule, that sense of purpose from your job, you're left with this void.
And that's where having a strong Ikigai comes in.
Exactly. It gives you that underlying sense of purpose that transcends your job, your daily routine.
Makes sense. And the book says they did a study at a hospital in Vienna, and they found that over half the patients experienced some degree of existential crisis.
That's a lot of people.
It really highlights how important it is to find our purpose, our own Ikigai.
Absolutely. And the book lays out some of the key principles of logotherapy.
Okay.
Like, one is that meaning is something we discover, not something we create. And another is that every single person has a unique reason for being, and it can change over time.
And I remember that idea of hyperintention.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's this idea that trying too hard to achieve something can actually prevent you from achieving it.
Like, you get in your own way.
Exactly. And the book also talks about humor as a way to break those negative cycles.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a great way to reduce anxiety, shift your perspective. And Frankl, he also emphasized our capacity for both good and bad.
Right.
And how it's ultimately our choices that determine which path we take.
We have the power to choose.
Exactly. And the book shares some amazing case studies from Frankl's work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like even people in the concentration camps, those who had a sense of purpose, they had a better chance of surviving.
Wow, that's incredible.
It really shows how powerful that inner strength can be.
And the story of that elderly doctor, the one who found purpose in surviving to spare his wife more suffering, that one really stuck with me.
It's a moving story, and it shows how meaning can be found even in the most difficult situations.
It does. And speaking of finding meaning, the book introduces us to another type of therapy called Morita therapy.
Ah, yes, Morita therapy. It's fascinating.
It originated in Japan, right?
It did, created by a guy named Shoma Morita.
Yeah.
And it's been really effective for things like neurosis, OCD, and even PTSD.
Wow.
Yeah, and it has this strong spiritual foundation coming from Morita's background in Zen Buddhism.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and what sets Morita therapy apart from many Western therapies is its focus on acceptance.
Acceptance.
Yeah, like accepting your emotions as they are rather than trying to control them or suppress them.
That's a different approach.
It is. The idea is that your feelings will naturally shift as a result of your actions. It's not about just eliminating symptoms. It's about creating new, more positive emotions through experience and repetition.
Okay, I see. Like changing your behavior will eventually change how you feel.
Exactly. And it can be especially helpful for people who tend to overthink things, get stuck in their heads, trapped in cycles of suffering. Morita therapy helps them break free from that.
So what are the basic principles of Morita therapy?
Well, there are three main ones.
Okay.
First, you accept your feelings. You don't try to fight them or control them. You just let them be, like the weather.
Okay. Acceptance. What's the second one?
Do what you should be doing. Focus on the present moment. Accept the suffering that comes with life. Don't overthink it.
So action over analysis.
Exactly. And the third principle is to discover your life's purpose.
Through action, right.
Exactly. By doing things, by engaging with the world.
And the book talks about these 4 phases of Morita therapy. Isolation, light occupational therapy, occupational therapy, and then returning to social life.
Right. It's a gradual process of re-engaging with the world, but with a new sense of purpose.
And there's this element of Nikan meditation.
Yeah,
right?
It's a key part of Morita therapy.
It's all about introspection. Asking yourself these 3 questions.
Right.
What have I received from others? What have I given to others? And what troubles have I caused others?
Those are powerful questions.
They really make you think about your impact on the world, right?
They do. And that reflection, it helps cultivate a sense of responsibility.
So it's not about blaming yourself or blaming others. It's about understanding your role in the web of relationships.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of your actions in your life. And, it's fascinating how both logotherapy and Morita therapy emphasize finding purpose through action and accepting that life isn't always going to be perfect.
It's about embracing the imperfections.
Exactly. And that brings us back to this idea of Ikigai, of finding your passion and living a life that feels truly meaningful.
Speaking of passion, the book also talks about this concept of flow, this state of complete absorption and enjoyment in what you're doing.
Yes, flow. It's that feeling of being totally in the zone, where everything else just fades away. The book actually quotes Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who's like the expert on flow.
Okay, and how does he define it?
Well, he says it's this optimal experience where you're so focused on the task at hand that nothing else seems to matter.
And it's not just for artists or musicians, right?
No, not at all.
The book says that athletes, chess players, even engineers can experience flow.
Absolutely. And the Csikszentmihalyi's research suggests that it's a pretty universal experience.
So no matter who you are, where you're from, you can tap into this flow state.
Exactly.
And what happens in the brain when we're in flow?
Well, you're totally focused on the task at hand. There are no distractions.
Yep.
You often feel a sense of calm, this intrinsic motivation, like you're doing it for the pure joy of it.
Yeah.
You lose self-consciousness, and time can feel distorted. Like you might think only minutes have passed when it's actually been hours.
It's like you're completely lost in the moment.
Exactly. And Owen Schaefer, he outlines these 7 conditions that are usually present when people experience flow.
7 conditions? That's a lot.
It is, but they make sense when you think about it.
Okay, let's hear them.
All right, so first, you need to know exactly what to do.
Yep.
Second, you need to know how to do it.
Okay.
Third, you need to know how well you're doing, like are you making progress?
Okay.
Fourth, if the activity involves navigation, you need to know where to go.
Okay.
Fifth, you need to perceive that there are significant challenges.
So it can't be too easy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sixth, you need to perceive that you have the skills necessary to meet those challenges.
So you can't feel totally overwhelmed.
Exactly. And seventh, and this is a big one, you need to be free from distractions.
That's key.
It really is.
So how do we actually cultivate flow in our lives?
Well, the book gives some great tips.
Okay.
One strategy is to choose a task that's challenging, but not too challenging.
Okay.
Like something that's just outside your comfort zone.
So it pushes you a little bit.
Exactly. Because if it's too easy, you'll get bored.
Yeah.
And if it's too hard, you'll get frustrated.
I like that quote from Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
Something like, sometimes I write better than I can.
That's it. It's about pushing your own boundaries.
And another key strategy is having a clear objective.
Absolutely. The book even mentions a study by the Boston Consulting Group.
Okay.
And they found that one of the top complaints employees had was not having a clear team mission.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't know where you're going, how are you supposed to get there?
So it's about having a clear goal in mind.
Exactly. It's like having a compass, not just a map. Because in today's world, things change so quickly, you need to be adaptable.
So it's not just about planning everything out perfectly.
Yeah.
It's about having a direction to head in.
Exactly. And it's important to take some time to think about what you want to achieve before you start working or studying.
Okay, so like, before I sit down to write, I should ask myself, what do I want this piece to be about?
Exactly. Or if you're working on a team project, you might ask, what's the ultimate goal we're trying to accomplish?
So have that big picture in mind.
Right. But the book also says that you shouldn't get too fixated on the end goal once you've started working.
Okay.
It's like Olympic athletes. They have that ultimate goal of winning the gold medal, but in the moment of competition, they have to be present.
So don't overthink it.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support means the world to me and helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.